If you've ever watched a period movie or TV show like Mad Men or The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, you've likely noticed that 50s homes looked a little different. In fact, the post-World War II atomic age style is often considered to be one of the most iconic in history. The good news? Those days don't have to be over. Just because you're too young to remember checkerboard tile and pink-colored bathrooms doesn't mean you can't incorporate those items into your own design aesthetic. From the stylish to the bizarre, we'll cover it all. And if you don't know what a TV lamp is, you'll want to stick around until the end. Hint, the answer might not be what you're thinking. Televisions. Even today, one object is the undisputed centerpiece of the American living room, even though it's rarely in the center. But back in the 50s, the warm, soft glow of the television was everything to a middle-class family. In 1947, there were just 100,000 TV sets in the U.S. However, that number exploded to 13 million just 6 years later. Unlike today's sleek wall-mounted screens, 1950s TVs were statement pieces of furniture, often housed in decorative wooden cabinets that sat proudly on the floor. Though black and white TVs with just two knobs were common, early technology enthusiasts would sometimes splurge on combination TV, radio, record player consoles, some of which even came with a minibar. And let's not forget the rooftop antenna adventures, a rite of passage for every suburban dad. Trying to capture that perfect reception, they'd brave any weather, a testament to the era's dedication to the brand new entertainment medium.
You were a witness. You didn't even come to the company trial, for Christ's sake.
Because they had already decided you were guilty and you know it.
Atomic age aesthetic. Ever noticed how some designs seem to catapult you straight into the past? Well, if you've ever seen a pattern that feels somewhat nuclear, you're likely looking at some 50s decor. In the atomic age, even the wallpaper whispered tales of scientific marvels and cosmic adventures. America's post-World War II fascination with space, UFOs, and technology, highlighted by figures like Oppenheimer and events like the growing space race, deeply influenced the cultural and aesthetic landscape of the 1950s. This fascination was reflected in the era's home decorations, which embraced futuristic themes and materials, encapsulating the optimism and anxieties of the atomic age and the dawn of space exploration. In fact, the era gave rise to some of the most iconic designs in home decor, including the mesmerizing atomic ball wall clock, a brainchild of George Nelson. Starburst patterns and atomic motifs splashed across curtains, pillows, and even outdoor fencing, embodying the spirit of a society on the brink of the space age. Curved couches. The 50s were a time when house parties ruled the suburbs. However, families also tended toward being larger, with the average couple having at least 3 to 4 children. So, whether you're hosting your own kids or your neighbors, how do you ensure they all have a place to sit? Well, you probably start with a massive couch. And forget straight lines and angles. The 1950s dared to bend the rules with circular curved couches that challenged traditional living room layouts. These weren't just pieces of furniture. They were bold statements of style and comfort, inviting conversation and closeness in a way straight sofas never could. Influenced by the atomic age's fascination with shapes and innovations, designers like Vladimir Kagan sculpted sofas that were both a luxury and a centerpiece, wrapping occupants in velvety embraces. Even today, these serpentine sofas are making a comeback, proving that some curves never go out of style. Bar carts. Shows like Mad Men will attest to the fact that the 50s and 60s were somewhat loose when it comes to drinking. You are not only expected to have alcohol in the house, but to put it on display. How do you do that? You might start with a bar cart. If there was any real soundtrack to the 1950s, it was the clink of ice in a cocktail shaker. Bar carts, originally Victorian-era tea carts, weren't just practical pieces for storing spirits and glassware, but the centerpiece of every party. Though they are still available today, modern bar carts lean more toward decorative than functional. Nonetheless, they are a perfect nod to a time when hosting was an art and cocktails were a craft.
Its spacious top can fit a number of your favorite beverages with plenty of room to work with as well.
Bold lamps. In the 1950s, lighting wasn't just functional, it was a bold expression of style and innovation. As America basked in post-war prosperity and technological advancements, home decor, especially lighting, reflected the optimism and forward-looking spirit of the time. And, as always, the space-age influence was ever present. This led to living room lamps that looked about as likely to dry your hair as they were to help you read. With their globes, organic curves, and splashes of color, mid-century lamps were intended to function as sculptural pieces, adding character and flair to any room. Nowadays, you can still find some of these retro designs in Scandinavian lamp models, which often embrace the same sense of form and function.
The Arco floor lamp was originally created to create sort of an overhead glow without necessarily having a whole lot of wiring.
Smoking memorabilia. Gone are the days when lighting up was synonymous with glamour and sophistication, immortalized by the suave James Dean and the elegant Audrey Hepburn. The 1950s were a haze of cigarette smoke, where Hollywood stars and even future President Reagan were never without their smokes. Not unlike beer and sports teams, 1950s households were proud to rep their favorite smokes by filling their homes with various cigarette-related memorabilia. From sleek lighters and elegant cigarette cases to artistic ashtrays and cigar box collectibles, these items were must-haves whether you smoked or not. After all, when entertaining visitors, it was considered polite and expected that you would have cigarettes and smoking paraphernalia available. Nowadays, they're relics of a bygone era, but they can still look cool with the right decor.
Green toilet ashtray. All right.
Sideboards and buffets. Again, the 50s were a time when house parties were the picture of socialization. During these neighborhood get-togethers, drinks, food, and ashtrays would be spread out across pretty much every surface of the home. And no dining room would be complete without the stately presence of bulky wooden sideboards and buffets. These unsung furniture heroes could house anything from mid-century dishes and silverware to liquor or records, but their flat tops also made them ideal to use as buffet tables. Today, as formal dining rooms fade in popularity, these vintage treasures find new life in modern homes, serving as chic storage solutions in living rooms, bedrooms, and beyond. Arched coffee tables. The post-war era brought about a revolution in living room furniture. Gone were the straight lines and angles of the past. In the 50s, the goal was to make your living room appear fluid and frisky. What better way to complement your curvy new couch than with an arched, curved, or boomerang-shaped coffee table? Epitomized by the iconic Noguchi coffee table, these new designs broke free from traditional shapes, offering lighter, more versatile options. Thanks to the advent of television, these coffee tables were designed to be lower and wider, ensuring they wouldn't obstruct the view of the family TV. This shift reflects the era's broader trends towards practicality and style, where furniture wasn't just about utility but also about making a very deliberate statement. Tropical decor. The 1950s saw American homes embrace many different decorative styles, yet one stands out above all others. I'll give you a hint. It has a lot to do with a little future state called Hawaii. You see, in the 50s, tropical decor was all the rage. Bamboo and rattan furniture, along with bark cloth patterns, brought a piece of the Pacific Islands into suburban living rooms. Hollywood and Broadway further amplified this fascination with the exotic, with productions like South Pacific romanticizing life in distant lands. Today, the integration of tropical elements into mid-century modern decor can still add a vibrant, playful dimension to interiors, proving that a touch of paradise can indeed blend seamlessly with sleek, modern aesthetics. Hassocks. Since the invention of the chair, people have been looking for a comfortable place to put their feet. In the 1950s, this was the preferred option. This is what's known as a hassock. Throughout the 50s and 60s, it could be found lurking in living rooms and dens all across America. And despite rarely being used for their intended purpose, these round upholstered footrests were ubiquitous in mid-century homes, offering a splash of color and texture. Today, hassocks evoke nostalgia for a bygone era of interior design, reminding us of a time when even the smallest pieces played a big role in the domestic landscape. Seasonal decorations. Older viewers probably remember being sent to the attic or basement every few months to retrieve boxes of random items. What was in them? Seasonal decorations, of course. In the 50s, every housewife was expected to decorate the home based on the time of year. From St. Patrick's Day shamrocks to Christmas ornaments, these decorations transformed living rooms into seasonal showcases. While the zeal for seasonal decorating may have waned, those who continue the tradition keep alive a connection to the past, capturing the spirit of an era when holidays were anticipated with decorations as much as with spirit.
Unpacking all my Christmas stuff right now, and this is my very first Christmas display.
TV lamps and animal decor. The post-war boom breathed life back into home decor, bringing color and whimsy into American living rooms. This soon led to the collectibles era, in which living rooms began filling up with tiny tchotchkes of all sorts. One element, however, is truly bizarre. We're talking about TV lamps. We already talked about the fact that televisions had become must-have centerpieces for American homes. Well, it turns out some people were worried about how staring at the boob tube for hours on end might hurt people's eyes. TV lamps were intended to keep a person from damaging their eyes from watching too much TV by diffusing the light, but that doesn't explain their horrid design choices. These ceramic trinkets ranged in shape from exotic panthers to serene birds to entire dioramas of cheap kitsch. Although they didn't save many eyes, these ugly little trinkets did become eyesores in their own way.
That was more the point of it, is to have an attractive sculptural piece in your house.
There you have it. From multitasking TVs and lamps designed to save your eyes to out-of-this-world designs and curved couches and coffee tables, the 50s had some ideas that didn't survive the decade. However, they did have some ideas that would be great for the modern living room and add a touch of nostalgia. If you like this video, give it a like and share it with your family and friends.